So
Oh,
I,
he just handed
I,
it off to you. Gotcha.
yes. Um, so we'll go ahead and get started, folks. We'll trickle in. But yeah, I'm Kate. I will just be kind of helping support this evening, but this is a webinar to learn more about the We Teach course. Yeah, we're excited to kind of offer some significant discounts on the course. So if you think it's a good fit for you, but this is, a free webinar to figure out what the course is about, some of the benefits. We are recording this, and I will be able to hand out slide deck and some resources. So if you were in the middle of a transition, driving home, I've seen it all. People have been like grocery shopping and FaceTiming us, as we understand. Yeah, so I will just be helping with the chat, but let's go ahead and get started. It's nice to see some familiar names in here. Is John, who are you?
Ah, I'm going to take that as a handoff. Okay.
That is the handoff.
Very good. Very good. Yes. Welcome, everybody. And thank you for joining us this evening. I know that you have other things that you could be doing as well, but thank you for spending this next hour with us. Hopefully the information that we give you will be helpful and useful. And we'll just plunge right in. I want to thank Kate and Csta for sponsoring this. We really appreciate the opportunity to spread the good word, and we feel like we've got some good news for you today. I also want to introduce Amy Carroll. Amy is my supervisor, and she's along with us today. And together with her and another woman, Carol Fletcher, we started We Teach way back in, what was it, 2015, Amy, I believe?
2014 was when we had our first training.
2014. Okay, so going on 6 or 7 years now, and I think you're going to like what you hear. Again, my name is John Owen, and I'm the manager for the computer science related projects that we do, and so that's kind of my role. And you're going to hear a little bit about my background here in just a little bit. This is kind of the overview of tonight. This next hour, we've just done introductions. I'm going to just do a little bit about We Teach CS and how it came about. I'm going to do a quick shallow dive into the foundations course that we have on Canvas, which is what this is pretty much about. But I also want to talk about some of the resources that the Praxis has provided. We have 3 different crosswalks. And I just refreshed the scale scores by state. I had an old version of it, and just this afternoon I looked it up, and there's some new information on there. We're going to show you an example of the score sheet from taking the Praxis test. Then we're going to jump back into the foundations course on Canvas, go a little bit deeper dive into it, and at some point we'll wrap that up. I'll hand it off to Kate. She's going to talk a little bit about the discount. And then I have a really nice announcement for you that I think you're going to like. And then towards the end, the last 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to open it up for questions and answers. If you have a question throughout, please post it in chat. We're going to be going pretty rapid paced. If it's a question that can fit into the flow of what we're talking about, then I'm going to leave it up to Kate or Amy to jump in and say, John, there's a question about this, and I'll be happy to take that. Otherwise, if it's a little bit beyond what we just talked about, or maybe off on a different tangent, then we'll be sure and answer it and address it in the Q&A at the end. Okay. All right. So this is sort of the hierarchy of We Teach CS. I'm not going to go to all of these websites, but I looked them up and posted them here so that you could see that we are a part of the University of Texas at Austin, and we're housed in TAC, the Texas Advanced Computer Center. It's an actual research building that hosts all of the big supercomputers like Frontera, Stampede. They do some amazing research. They did a lot of COVID research this year. Amy, I'm sure you remember some other stuff, but every time I sit in a staff meeting, my head is just spinning because of all the wonderful stuff that is just way beyond my comprehension. But they do some great stuff. We are part of their outreach arm. They've had outreach with students. Now we had formulated before we joined them our own identity We started on a different part of University of Texas in the STEM Center, but we moved to the TAC Center, and it fits really nicely because their whole mission is in the outreach is reaching out to students and now teachers. Our original mission, as you can see in the slide here, was helping CS teachers become certified. And I put 2015, Amy just corrected me, so I'm a year off, but that's okay. We've done really, really well. And you're going to see a little bit more of this. I'm going to play a short video for you. And I know it's not great style of short to play videos, but it really does present the information in a much better way that I could just kind of willy-nilly here do that. This is our foundations course. It's in Canvas, and this is what the homepage looks like. And I'm going to switch over to that page. And here it is right here. Please tell me, give me some indication that you can see this. If you can't see it, let me know. Are we good? Yes, I don't have the gallery up, so I'm just.
You're good.
You're good. Thank you very much.
You're good.
Very good.
Doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is what you would see if you decided to join the Foundations course. And towards the end, as I said, Kate is going to show you how you can do that through CSTA Plus, even CSTA regular membership. But this is what the Praxis course looks like. And as you can see, we teach CS Praxis Prep course for computer science certification tests. And I'm going to give you some information about that just in case you're not familiar. Okay. Now, this is the opening video, and I'm going to play just a couple of minutes of that if you don't mind. So I'm going to go to full screen. It's not going to full screen. Why not? Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, and welcome to We
We
Teach
good with sound?
CS, Foundations of Computer Science for
Yes.
Teachers,
Yes.
a course that will help you prepare for and take the Praxis 5652, as well as the Pearson-based Computer Science Certification Test. I'm John Owen, Professional Development Specialist for the We Teach CS program at the University of Texas at Austin. I taught in the Texas public schools for 33 years, over 20 in the computer science and Cisco networking classrooms. I also served for 6 years as an AP computer science reader a few years back. An amazing team of experienced computer science educators have helped me greatly in developing this course, and I think you'll be impressed. This course of study is going to be intense, so hang on to your hats. The Praxis Computer Science Test is based on 5 domains, 53 subgroups, a total of 196 specific competency items, all stipulating the knowledge and skills computer science teachers are required to have, as defined by the Computer Science Praxis Development Committee. And this course covers every one of those items. As I mentioned earlier, it also addresses all the topics on the Pearson test list. This course was developed based on the first version of Foundations of Computer Science for Teachers, covering the Texas 241 competencies, sharing many of the same topics and concepts as the Praxis and Pearson lists. The success of the course in Texas has been phenomenal, with around 500 teachers so far since 2015, having gained certification in large part due to their participation in that course. The good news is, once you register and pay for this course, you get access to all instructional materials for as long as they exist on the internet, even after completing the course. This means you can use the videos and other resources in your own CS classroom if you find them valuable for teaching difficult concepts. The videos are hosted on a secure Vimeo platform site, perfect for protected school and student access even from home, compared to other video hosting sites available on the net. This course follows the outline of the Praxis Computer Science topic list with 5 modules covering all these items.
Okay, I'm going to stop the video there, and I'm going to switch back over to the presentation. We'll come back to the Foundations course in just a moment. But what I wanted to do is take a look at what the Praxis organization has provided for you. And this can be found in the folder that we have shared with you. And I'm trying to get to that folder. Let's see here. my screen is, there we go. It's not cooperating very well. There we go. All right. Can you see the folder okay? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The first thing I want to do is go to the Praxis Computer Science Study Companion. This is available for a download. All you have to do is just search for it, and this is what you're going to find. Now, the Praxis Study Companion shows you all of the aspects of the Praxis 5652 test. Now, there was an older Praxis test that was revised, and these are all the new competencies for it. And as you heard in the video, there were 196, almost 200 items, specific items that you need to be prepared for to take this test. It was crazy trying to cover all of those. And you're going to see when we do a deep dive, a lot of the aspects of how we did that. But this takes you through, it's just a typical study guide, gives you sort of an overview of all of the things that are available. Particularly, you want to go to this test at a glance page, and this gives you some basic thumbnail information about the test itself. You have 3 hours, 100 questions. You do it on the computer, and it's mostly multiple choice, but you have some multiple answers that you can choose. You've got some click and drag. You may have a couple of fill in the blanks. You do get scratch paper when you take the test, and you can use a pencil and write all over it. So it's a typical test that you take on the computer. Now, some of the code-based stuff is a little bit more difficult to trace because you have to sit there on the screen and figure out what's going on. But anyway, it's doable. And I just wanted you to know that this is sort of the basic structure of it. The breakdown is not precise every time, but it's approximate. So 15%, 25%, 30%. Look at this 30% programming. That is pretty much a huge part of the test. And for those of you who may not have as much experience in programming, it's really, really critical that you find a way to learn some language like C++ or Python or Java, something that will teach you how to code and how to work through coding statements, because that's a big part of this test. And we have found in the work that we've done over the past several years that teachers who have that extra coding experience, either before or after, even during the study and the prep, have done much better on the actual test, because it's just something about getting your fingers dirty and your feet wet on coding that really makes it a lot easier to take the test and work through the coding examples. These are all the specifications, starting with impacts of computing. So it's divided into 5 domains, several subgroups, and a whole bunch of small competencies here, 196 altogether. And this just goes page after page, a lot of stuff. And so it's daunting when you first look at it. And anyone trying to prepare for this test without some sort of a way to systematically learn and see lessons, it is a really, really big challenge, which is one of the big reasons we first wrote the Foundations course for the Texas test, because it's equally as difficult. These are 2 of the hardest tests I've ever sat for, including some of the graduate level tests, the AP test from examples that I've seen. It's tough. It really, I'm not going to mince words on that. And so you just need to be aware that it is a challenge. But if you take our course, we have a pretty good track record. We have a high success rate on dealing with this. Now, the companion goes on and it shows you the pseudocode. Now, this is a really important thing. This is not a language-based test. It is agnostic. Language agnostic is the word that they like to use. However, the old saying, if it acts like a duck and quacks and walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's very, very much like Java, C++, and Python, in that the constructs that they use are very, very similar, which reinforces the idea that it's really beneficial to learn some kind of programming language before you try to sit for this test. It'll really help out a lot, okay? And so the course goes through this. When I actually do workshops online or in person, which I hope to do again sometime, that'd be fun, we go through the pseudocode. And I actually have a pseudocode supplement that I provide in workshops that goes through all of these things and has lots of exercises that are available. But it tells you about all of the language aspects, the data types, the data structures, and the conditional statements, if, else, all the different kinds of loops, procedures, a little bit of object-oriented programming involved in this. And then it goes on and shows you some examples of test questions. And eventually there is a practice manual. I believe that's on about page 39. So I'm going to slide very quickly down here. Oh, no, it went past. There they are. There they are. So that starts on page 19. So here, 25 different test questions that mimic the kind of questions, the style of questions that you're going to be asked. Now, for those of you who are into the Bloom's taxonomy, the 6 levels of starting with knowledge and understanding, application, analysis, and all of that, I've done an analysis of several different practice tests and from the questions that I remember. And I would venture to say that a good majority of them are level 3 and level 4 questions, which means they get pretty intense. Definitely application and definitely analysis. For example, you might be saying something like, okay, here's a bunch of code. Which sorting routine do you think this code best mimics? Or maybe you're given a sorting routine and here's a set of data and it says after the 3rd pass, what is the organization of the data? It's not completely sorted yet, but it's partially sorted. That requires analysis of the sorts and knowledge of it. And so there's a lot of information like that that you're going to have to know, and we give to you in this course. It's a lot of basic foundational knowledge. Okay, so that is the Praxis companion. The next thing I wanted to show you is the Crosswalk. So if you'll look in your folder in the drive that I showed you, I'm going to jump back over to that and open that one. This right here, the Praxis Foundations Crosswalk. When we first started this, we felt like it was important to show you that we do indeed cover all of the aspects of the Praxis companion, the study guide. And on the left, you see direct from that Praxis companion. On the right, you see the portions of the test. Now, they start off pretty well aligned, and we have developed the course where it pretty much follows straight through. Now, there are some exceptions. For example, when I get down here to module 3, and we're going to see this again when we actually do a deep dive into the foundations course. Module 3 is really heavy duty. And when I was first looking at this, I was going, wow, this is a lot of information. Notice that I've combined in one module several different aspects, because when I started looking at it, I had taught computer science for many years, and I knew a sequence that made sense. And so I decided to redefine the sequence in our course, but it still matches up. And so I decided to combine all of these into one module, but it addresses all of these things. And at some point, I even took one element and I split it into 2 parts, like this one right here, 3A6. Well, 3A6 uses variables and a variety of data types. There's a data types and variables aspect of that. And then there's a data structures aspect to that. So I split that one up. So I did some combining, I did some splitting, and I feel like it's a good sequenced course that helps you through all of that. So that's the crosswalk for the Praxis Foundations. Next is a crosswalk that takes the Pearson. Now, I'm going to have to correct myself from the video. It doesn't cover all of the Pearson. I'm going to show you that crosswalk here in a moment. Here it is right here. This is in a similar structure. It shows this is the Pearson version of the competencies. And what I did is I compared all the Pearson information to the course that we had already developed for Praxis, because it was an after the fact thing. And it lines up really, really well. And where it doesn't, we make a big point of it. And this one does not get covered in the Praxis. Since Praxis standards do not stipulate this aspect, no foundations lessons cover this material. Okay. And we decided to keep the course as it was. And if somebody was dealing with the Pearson test, then it was going to be up to them to look up stuff like waterfall, iterative, and agile. Now, in the Texas course, we do have this, but we didn't put it in the Praxis because Praxis does not require that. Further down, there's another, there are several of them. Like here's another one. Knowledge of vacuum tube transistors, integrated circuits, history. A lot of this is knowledge that you probably already have or can get fairly easily. And so we felt like that was going to be okay. Here are some other, several topics that weren't covered. Mobile computing. Now, a lot of this kind of overlaps into impacts of computing, but it didn't fit exactly, so we didn't include it. And then down here are items that the Praxis covers that the Pearson does not. So this crosswalk gives you both sides of the picture, where there's a significant overlap, where one doesn't fit the other, or vice versa. So if you're dealing with the Pearson. Now, we have had several states who have added material to the Foundations course. For example, Ohio, they decided to add some things to the Canvas course. Yeah, we're fine with that if you want to add things to yourself. And then the final crosswalk I wanted to show you was CSTA's standards. We did that as well. And that document is in here. Let's see, here we go. And on the left, again, are the standards that CSTA has set out in their K through 12 standards. And this is how it fits with the Foundations course. And so you can see the parallel there. And on your own time, you can certainly take a lot more time to analyze that, take a look at it, and see that we do well align with all three of these organizations, with Praxis and Pearson and CSTA. So we feel like it makes a really strong case for the Foundations course. Now, I looked this up today. I had previous information on there, but obviously it's grown. The scale score for the Praxis test falls between 100 and 200. I guess it's the old SAT thing where if you just sign your name, you automatically get 100. I don't know. But anyway, this is where the scale scores fall by state. And you can just quickly take a glance. And if your state is in there, then you can see what's going to be required for you in order to successfully gain the certification based on whatever the standards are for that state. Now, as you can see, this is not nearly all of the states in the US. Not everybody goes with Praxis. For example, Georgia is not on here, but they still take a test that's very, very similar to the Praxis. It's called the GACE. Georgia, I can't remember exactly the acronym, but anyway, it's a very, very similar thing. And like I mentioned, Ohio, they have Pearson as their standard. And I think even Indiana's on here. And you can see they're not quite ready to publish their scores yet, but I have a feeling they're going to fall pretty close in line to what you see here. Okay. How are we doing so far on questions? Anybody have a burning question I need to address?
Only thing I see is that New York isn't on the list. And Solomon, I have a list of what everybody does by state, and I'll look that up while John's talking.
Okay. This is fresh off the press. This is a website I went to today. This is a screenshot from today from Praxis. And so if it's not on this, then it's probably pending. I know Pennsylvania, they have just moved over to the Praxis, and I know Indiana is in the process of doing that. I mentioned that earlier. So yeah, there's probably a lot of flux going on.
And some states, Texas is based on the Praxis, but we don't do the Praxis because we're Texas and we have to be individualistic. So New York and Florida might be the same, but I'll look it up and plug in some information.
Okay. Thank you, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what a score sheet would look like. I decided to sit for the test, and Texas doesn't use Praxis, although it's very, very similar. We use the Texas 241 test. And so I was trying to figure out, how am I going to take this test? Well, I was able to register with another state, with Arkansas to be exact. And this is the test I took. Now, at that time, they had not determined what the scale score was, but you can see I would have passed it pretty well there. And some people have done better than this, and they take great glee in sending me their score report saying, aha, I beat you. It doesn't matter. But the point is, it is a valid test. And that's one of the things I made a big point of, both in Texas and in the Praxis. I haven't sat for the Pearson yet, but I may do that. I want to experience. And if you end up in a leadership situation in your state after you've passed the certification and decide you want to start training teachers, You need to show them that you've sat for this test and that you struggled with it and dealt with it. It's really important because it gives you credibility. All right. Now, I'm going to jump over to the actual document, and that is right there. That is my score sheet. You're welcome to share it with anyone you want to. And it's about 3 pages long. First page is just a general summary. That just tells you the scale score. And then this third page is where the most useful information is. And this tells you of the 5 domains, how you did in each one of them. And I got 11 out of 12, 20 out of 20, and so forth and so on. And again, it was too early. And I think I was probably one of the first ones that took that Praxis test, to be honest with you. But there was nothing to compare it to. So the current scale score sheets are probably going to have more information here. Notice also that if you added up all of these numbers, they add up to 80, not 100, which is something that I know that Texas does, and I know ETS does in a lot of this other situations, including the AP test, including SAT. They'll put in there some field questions just to test the question for validity and reliability, but you won't know what they are. And they should fit into the competency range, although I've seen and heard reports of some questions not being in the range, and I'm going, that was probably a field question. The point is, you just do the best that you can. And we can talk a little bit about test taking strategies if we have time. Okay. And so that's the extent of the score sheet of what that would look like. Okay. So you can see that we've given you the 3 crosswalks, and there's the slideshow that we're actually using right now. There's the study companion in both PDF and Google Docs, and there's the Praxis score report. So we've gone over all of the different aspects of the presentation. Now, before I jump back into the foundations and do a deep dive, I want to show you a website that is where you would go if you wanted to explore what options we have at We Teach CS. Our website is called You Take It, and it's basically the registration portal. Now, this is not where you're going to go for Kate's deal. She's going to show you on the CSDA or describe where to go there. However, if you liked what you saw and you want to look at some of the other stuff that we do, we have workshops, we have courses, we have curriculum, we have all kinds of resources. You're going to go to this website. Now, if you want to register for any of these, you're going to need to have a University of Texas electronic ID, UTEID. They're free, they're quick and easy to get. All you have to do is go to the UTE website or just do a search for UTEID and you'll find it. And they just need your name and an email, and then they'll send you the UTEID. It's not a big deal. It's pretty much how all of the University of Texas operates. All the students, professors, anybody who deals with UT gets one of those IDs. It's safe, it's protected, and it's really, it's basically the gateway into any of the stuff. So if you're going to do that, you're going to log in, as you can see that I've logged in here. And then you can go to any of these. Now I'm going to come back to this, but I just wanted to show that to you. And that URL is up here. It's also in the first couple of slides in the actual presentation, the slide presentation. All right. So we did the score sheet. Now we're going to go back to the Foundations course. Now I'm going to stop and take a breather and ask if there are any questions so far that you have. And you're welcome to post them in the chat, or if you want to unmute your mic and just go for it directly. Anybody before I jump in or keep going?
I don't see anything in the chat that hasn't been addressed.
Okay, very good. So now I'm going to jump back over to the actual Foundations course. And this again was the opening page. Now over here on the left, you can see all of the different modules. Now, if you're familiar with Canvas, this looks very familiar to you. These were put in there so you could quickly navigate to any of the modules. Sliding down the rest of the welcome page, there's the video we just looked at, a little bit more information. Here is just several menu items that you can look at that goes to the course overview. There's the Praxis framework, which I've duplicated in this section. This is the course menu, which we're going to go to here in just a minute. Down here is a quick access to all the course assessments. And here is a view of the pseudocode. And if you want to see a little bit more about the developers of this, you're certainly welcome to do that. Now, let's talk about the assessments for a minute. There are quizzes for every module in the course. And if you look, module 3 has 3 quizzes, and you're going to see why here in a minute. It's a big deal. I already talked about that a little bit. It has a lot of information. And as I was trying to figure out how to cover everything, it just felt like too big of a chunk, too much to digest in one sitting. So I split it up into 3 parts, and I think you're going to understand why when you start going through it. It's a lot of information. And so each one of these quizzes is around 20 questions, give or take. And each one of those quizzes is an official quiz for that module. And those quizzes, along with the final exam, which is in 4 parts, all combine to give a grade, a passing rate for the course. And those things will accumulate. And you want to have an 80% or more to earn the credentials that this course offers. And you'll get a certificate. If you go back through and look at the rest of the video, it tells you a little bit more about that certificate. It's CPE hours, 40 hours that you can get from us. And so that'll satisfy a lot, if not all, of the credential or the extra hours, continuing education hours, whatever is called in your area that you'll need. Okay. Now, the modules, you have 3 chances. You take it the first time, you're not satisfied, you can take it again, and you can take it a 3rd time. And the last time you take it is the score that you keep. Now, you see what answers you got wrong, but you don't see why. You see the answers you got right, but you don't see the final answers until the 3rd attempt. So you kind of have to do some analyzing based on how you want to do. If you came close, like you were at just under 80% and you want to try to do better, you can see the ones that you got wrong. And it's important that you look at that time, make notes to yourself, and go back and research that question, because it'll be the same question the 2nd time and the 3rd time. It's not going to be a question bank. It's the same ones. We could get mean on you, but I feel like it's important that you see something over and over again and finally understand and research it. Okay. All right. We ask you to take a pre-quiz. Now, the pre-quiz is exactly that. We don't want you to do well on the pre-quiz. In fact, we want you to just totally bomb so you can say at the end, whoa, I learned a lot here because I passed the course. Okay. So there's even an option, I think there's an E option or something like that on every question that says, I have no idea. I don't want you to guess. I just want you to say, I have no idea. It gives you a sort of an indication of how much you know or how much you don't know. Okay. So don't be afraid of the pre-diagnostic quiz. It's not going to kick you out if you don't do well enough. Okay. In fact, I want you to be totally honest with yourself. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go back to the main welcome page. And again, I could have gone to the side here, but I'm just going to go through the main channels. And we're going to go to the course menu. This is where you're going to spend most of your time. You could get to it through here, or you can go directly to the modules here. Now, this course menu, as you can see, follows the structure of the Praxis course. And you can see impacts of computing, module 2, algorithms, computational thinking, programming. This is the big one. Remember, I talked about that. Data, and then computing systems and networks. This is another quick link to the course assessments. This is a quick link to the pseudocode. This is a glossary. And this glossary is based on a spreadsheet that I made. And when I was originally doing the Texas course, and then I went back through and did the same thing with the Praxis course, I just listed every single computer science related term I could see, found the definition for it, and put it in that glossary. You're not expected to memorize the glossary. It's a reference. So look it up. Okay. It's a reference for you in case you need to look something up. This goes to the test framework. And again, very similar to what we showed before. So let's just jump right in. Here's impacts of computing. Now, as you can see, you've got an intro video, and every module has an introduction video to it. And it just gives you briefly what it's about. And then here you can see this is the framework that Praxis has given us, and these are the lessons that go with them. And as you can, if you remember from the crosswalk, the first couple of modules followed pretty much lockstep what the structure was. So if I went to A1, for example, you might find, or first of all, you find the actual competencies that are listed. We show them again here down to the smallest detail. And then you may see a video, you may see a lesson, interactive, all kinds of things that you might be able to see. And if you click on next, then this is a practice. Now, if you look back at the previous, and the previous and next are pretty much lockstep with the Canvas courses, if you have any familiarity with that. This also gets you there. And on some of the other ones, there may be several practice quizzes. This is a really short quiz, so not really anything that's terribly significant. Let's jump to module 3. Module 3 is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. Okay. And here you can see what I was talking about. There are a lot of things in module 3. And again, as I was going through them, trying to figure out how I'm going to do all this in one module, I finally decided this is just too much. So I did, I split it up. Now, here is where I start to diverge a little bit from the sequence that Praxis showed. I taught computer science for many years, and I know pretty well what a good learning sequence is. You need to start with something basic like the data types and the variables. Well, the Praxis standard didn't list those until A6. And to me, it just made better sense to list it first, and then followed by the operators. And then we get into style and debugging and conditionals and loops. Well, these are all covered in these elements. So I just decided to do that as the sequence. Now let's just jump to this one, and you can see that there's a lot of stuff here, just not just in the competencies, but look at all the lessons. These are all different lessons that go with just this first third of module 3. But we have left no stone unturned. If you go through all of this, you're going to learn what you need. If you go through all the practice examples, and there are hundreds of practice questions on this, you're going to learn what you need to know. You're going to have to work your butt off. I hate to be blunt, but you're going to have to work hard. Okay, this is not going to be easy. But if you're serious about teaching computer science, it's information that you need to learn. And we feel like this course has really done a good job of doing that for you. Okay, how are we doing on time? 7:07. All right, just a few more things, and then I'm going to hand it back over to Kate, and then she's going to tell you a little bit about the Csta process, and then we'll wrap things up. Okay. So going back to module 4 deals with data. There again is an introduction video. I want to go through one of the module quizzes. Module 4 quiz. Here we go. 20 questions. And if you take the quiz, notice it says you have 3 attempts allowed. So here is the actual quiz for this module. And as you can see, it's very much multiple choice. And there are some fill in the blanks. We tried to model the types of questions in these practice quizzes, as well as on the final exam, along the same lines as the questions that I, as well as some of the other developers, encountered when we actually took the test. Now, when you actually sit for the test, you have to sign a paper that says, I won't talk about the test. You know, it's like Fight Club rules. You don't talk about Fight Club. Well, you can't talk about the test. So I get around that by saying, if I were writing a question for the test, this is the way I would write it. And so that's kind of the way I present things to you. I can't say what's on the test, except for what Praxis has showed you as far as the competencies are concerned. So this deals with data, encryption. There's actually some spreadsheet information in there, and we could have a long discussion about spreadsheets, whether they belong in computer science. But anyway, that's what Praxis wanted. That's what they got. Okay. And so again, you can take these quizzes, you can take up to 3 times. Now, if we go to the final exam, let me go back to the course menu. Yes, I do. And let's look at course assessments. And down here, final quiz, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. I decided to split it up into 4 parts because, yeah, it's one thing to sit for a 100-question test, but that's just no fun. And I don't think it's appropriate for a course like this where you're still forming and learning. But these are all summative tests. They're not formative. You get one shot at each one of these, and that's it. So you need to be darn sure that you know and have gone through all the practice quizzes, that you've gone through the module quizzes, and you're pretty well prepared for these. We wanted you to have the experience of sitting, the pressure of sitting for a test where you just get one shot, because you need to have that practice. But we decided to split it up into 4 parts. So each one is 25 questions. It's a random sampling. It doesn't go by module. It's just all over the place. So you're going to see questions from all 5 modules in all 4 of the quizzes. Then finally, there's a post-diagnostic quiz. We want you to do well on this one. And so hopefully by the time you've gone through all of this, that you have learned what you need to learn. Okay. Now, one word of warning. People have taken this course, and I can look in Canvas and I can see what some of the activity of people who go through this. And some people just say, oh, I know this well enough. I'm just going to jump right to the module quizzes, or I'm just going to jump right to the final exams. Not advisable. I really want you to spend the time. If you're going to spend the money on this course, then you need to spend the time. You need to put in the time and make sure that you learn this, not just to get your money's worth, but to get prepared for the certification test, because that's going to be even more money. I don't know what it costs for you guys to register, but still it's a chunk of change and you don't want to just throw it away. So spend the time, listen to the videos as many times as you need to, go through the interactive lessons, go through the practice questions. I really feel like it's going to be worth your experience. Okay. All right. Questions so far? Is there anything else here that I can show you?
John, there's a question in the chat. Is the Praxis a random sampling?
Is the Praxis a random sampling?
It's based on something you said, and I'm sorry, I was looking up different states.
Okay. Well, this is one of those rules where you don't talk about the test. I have a feeling they don't tell me. I know who the test writer is, and she's a sharp cookie. But when I would ask her questions about the test, she just kind of clammed up. You know, the College Board is very protective. They hold their cards close to the vest. But I would say that if you sit for the Praxis test twice, you're going to see a different set of questions. College Board does that pretty much on a regular basis, I would say. So I think that's the question you were asking, and I think the answer is yes, it probably is. No, it's not. It's the same ones. Now, at some point, we may decide to develop a larger question bank, but to be honest with you, we just haven't gotten to that point. Okay. College Board has a huge team. We're pretty small. I mean, we're doing the best that we can here. And it's not that we don't want to do that, but we feel like this is done well and it is proven to be effective. And so, you know, the final quizzes, you get one shot at it. Now, there are times where I've gone back and reset a test if you really beg and plead, but we like you to experience it as if it was a one-time through. Okay, good question. All right. Let's see. Let me take you to the glossary real quick, just so you can see that. I have organized it into topics. So if you want to go to a particular topic, there's software design. If you want to jump back up to the top, or there's arrays 1D and 2D, and there's quick links back to the top. So you're not having to do a bunch of scrolling back and forth. But as you can see, these are just terms that are all computer science related that really do give you some good perspective on what's going on there. Okay. All right. So at this time, Kate, I'm going to pass it over to you and show your slide, and you can talk about that. however you wish to.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I feel like that was some really great information, and I feel like everyone's processing that. And so I'll just reiterate that we did record this. We're going to share out some of the resources and slide decks you'll be able to kind of absorb. And then, and John, Amy, if folks have questions, should they reach out to you? I'm sure that might be on the next slide or so, but is that a possibility? Asking questions about the course?
Sure, absolutely. You are welcome to email me if you'd like to. And Amy, if you don't mind, is that okay with you? Is just post my
Yeah.
email there, or do you
Yeah.
have a better way?
No, I think that any content questions you should ask John. If you have any problems on the back end with any of the processes, business things, anything like that, you can contact me, and both of our emails are in there.
Okay, great.
Okay, so you did put them in there. Okay,
did.
yes, there they are right there. JBO at TAC, a Carroll at TAC. You bet.
Awesome. Great. So I just wanted to share, if you could go back one slide.
Sorry about that.
Don. Yeah, no worries.
There we go.
I just wanted to share is, if you do think this is a good fit for you, is CSTA actually purchased the courses a few years ago, and so we've been able to give discounts to our members. And so right now the course is priced at, I think it's like $599 or $600. And so if you're a plus member, you can get it at $299, and if you're a basic member, you can get it at $398. So this is just information of, like, we know you may not have funding in your district. And so if you do want to do this, is I highly suggest you buy it through CSTA because it's much cheaper. I'm going to go ahead and follow up with folks next week with the recording and some information. But I'll drop this link in the chat, and Amy has a really nice link. Is basically we have a CSTA Plus membership. It's $50 a year, and it has all sorts of discounts, and you just purchase it through the store, and you're logged in and you get a certain price based on your membership. And then we follow up with instructions on, here's the code that you enter in to purchase it on the website. These are the next steps. Here's how you create that login that John was talking about. And then we usually do that within 24 hours after purchasing. We have a lot of these left, so we're trying to get the awareness out. I'm happy to answer any questions now or later, but you'll be hearing from me in the next week or so. My email is membership@csteachers.org, but I just wanted to let you know, if this is something you're interested, or maybe a colleague's interested in, is like, why not pay less for it? We want to be able to support you in these really hard, weird times. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to share. Yeah, go ahead from here, John. I think we have maybe another Q&A slide.
Yes, but just to recap what I think I heard you say, Kate, is that
Yes.
they go to you, and if they're already CSTA Plus members, then they'll pay you money to get a code, a coupon code.
Yes.
Which then, and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, you go to You Take It. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep.
Okay. So go to CSTA first,
Buy
pay
it
the
from us.
money, get a coupon, and then go to You Take It, that webpage I showed you earlier. And then from there, you'll be able to go to the course, use the coupon code, and you're good to go.
Yep, you fill in all the information, and at the end, it'll ask you if you have a code, and you put that in, and it'll waive the fee for you because you've already paid CSTA.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. And don't worry, we send, once you purchase it from CSTA, we send all the next steps and information on what to do in case you forget. So you don't need to remember everything.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then I saw a really great question in the chat, is if we have a cohort group that's going through this course. We don't right now, but we're actually really close to launching a discussion board, which will be free for all members. And it's been a process, but so that is free for our like 20,000 members, and I'm more than happy to start a cohort group of, hey, we're all going through the same process, taking this course or doing other materials. How's it going? So I think that's a really great idea, and I'm happy to kind of make that happen, make some magic happen. Awesome. Any other questions? Great. Oh, I love that comment about the engagement. We're really trying. Great. All right, John, thanks so much.
Okay. So before we get into questions and answers, this is an announcement you're going to want to hear. Okay, watch this. Hello, I'm John Owen with We Teach CS, and I have a wonderful announcement that will make your day. As you may know, We Teach CS has been training teachers for almost 6 years now to take and pass the computer science certification test. And we've done a pretty decent job of it, with now over 500 teachers that we know of that have taken and passed this very difficult computer science certification test. We have also developed 2 curriculum packages, one for a typical first-year computer science course, and the other to help students prepare for and to take the Computer Science A AP test. This new curriculum is fully endorsed by the College Board and completely aligned with the course exam description that was released in the summer of 2019. We've been offering these 2 curriculum packages for an annual subscription cost, but are now pleased to announce a scholarship program for no cost access to any teacher who wants to use it to teach computer science next year. Yes, you heard it right. No cost access. All you have to do is go to our website, fill out the Google form, download the terms of use, sign it, have an authorized district official sign it, send it back to us, completing your application, and you'll hear from us very soon. This is a great deal. Both curriculum packages have lesson plans, online auto-graded Google Form quizzes, downloadable PDF documents, videos, and e-lessons, all of which students can access using their smartphones. Labs are also available on an online IDE, fully auto-graded, and perfectly suited for a Chromebook lab classroom. No need to download anything to your local computers. It has everything you need and is especially designed for the beginning teacher, but is also appropriate for the veteran teacher who's looking for a new way to teach computer science. A team of veteran teachers who developed these packages have a combined, effective, and successful teaching experience of almost 100 years, providing for you effective and engaging curriculum packages for your students. Canvas is the platform we use to host the curriculum, and you as the teacher would have access to this Canvas course, which you can then deliver to your own students in whatever way you feel is appropriate. Students can also gain access to the student portion of it, the lessons, the videos, the e-lessons, and so on, much like a student textbook would provide. However, there is a cost associated with that at $5 per student per year. We also use the online IDE programming platform called Codio and have worked out a deal with them for We Teach CS subscribers at $6 per student annually. You cannot beat that deal. So if you choose to do both, that's just $11 a year per student, well within a budget for any size school. To summarize, scholarships are now available at the URL shown on the screen. Find and fill out the application form for the scholarship, download the terms of use and the privacy policy, have it signed, scanned, and sent back to me as an email attachment, and you will hear from us very shortly. Thank you.
Ooh,
Okay, so
what a
Yeah.
smooth video.
that story, yes. Yeah, I had fun doing that. All right. So the point is, if you're a beginning teacher, or you know somebody's going to be a beginning teacher, or if you're a veteran teacher, we've got curriculum for you. And we're already getting a lot of responses. And it's just, when we finally made that decision, I was just celebrating, because I feel like everybody needs to have a curriculum to teach with. And as a beginning teacher, that was hard for me way back. I could not find anything. It just wasn't there. So I just made my own. And a lot of this curriculum is based on the stuff that I created over the years, and it's been very successful. So, all right. Questions and answers. Now is your time. Oh, come on now. Somebody's got a question.
I have one.
Sure.
What What do you think, what's the, I guess, suggested timing of how long the training course typically takes?
It's based on about 8 weeks of study, 5 hours a week. That's our best estimate, but everybody is going to be different, to be honest with you. But that gives you at least a ballpark of how much work it's going to take for you to do that. Okay, it's a lot of stuff. Okay, somebody else. I'm either that good or you're just totally lost and don't know what to say.
Okay,
don't
I
know.
have a question. Real talk. I'm in my 3rd year of teaching K through 6 computer science, but I definitely need a more robust background. This was not my original area of teaching. And so I jumped into an opportunity. I love the creativity of it. I've been learning as I go.
Good.
I was wondering, like, how doable is this class for somebody who has a humanities background?
I've had kindergarten teachers,
Goodness.
librarians, you name it.
Okay.
There is no limit to what you can do if your mind is made up for it. If you have the, if you have the mind to do it and the determination, then you can do this. Is it
Okay.
going to be difficult for you if you haven't
Yes.
had as strong a CS background as somebody else? Probably. But that's why it's important that, number one, you jump in and do this. And then number two, there are plenty of resources out there where you can learn some coding, and they're all pretty much free.
Right.
What are some code? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Like
Just
Khan Academy has some.
Khan
Yeah.
Academy. Yes, absolutely. There's just lots of great resources where you can learn the basics of coding that will help you do this. If you've done some of the block-based languages, which I have a feeling you have, being K through 6, like Scratch and Scratch Junior, and Jeru is another one that I've used. Alice, of course, is a classic, and that gets into some pretty heavy-duty stuff, but it's fun and it's engaging. And when you start teaching your kids, that's the way you start them. It's just something that is quickly able to do some sophisticated things. You don't just jump right into text-based coding. That's a big mistake. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, John.
Sure.
Thanks for sharing.
Sure, John.
In the emails from Kate, are we going to get the instructions of how we connect to these curricula?
Kate, you want to handle that?
Yes, it's a great question. So yeah, I will do my best to capture not only information about kind of the We Teach course, but information about the kind of curriculum, the scholarship curriculum that John talked about. And then we will definitely share that out in CSTA information as well, because we want to be able to provide everyone that information. So hopefully next week I'll have made the recording beautiful, share out that information, and then you'll see it elsewhere on CSTA.
So is there a voucher? I mean, the curriculum's free?
The curriculum curriculum is indeed free. If you go to that website that's on the video, you should have access to that. And I think I even put it in the slideshow.
I got it.
Yes. Then it's a scholarship form that you fill out. And then you download and sign and return a terms of agreement, get your building administrator or an authorized district official, and we give you a coupon and you're off and running.
Oh, I'm looking for the scholarship form.
It's on the website. You have to go to the website and click on the curriculum that you want. And if you scroll down, there's a place that says scholarship 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll try and lay out different sections when I do that follow-up
Yeah.
email. And then we'll put some information in the upcoming Plus newsletter.
So go to the CSTA website and sign up for the foundations, pay them it's pretty much half price from what the regular price is now. And then you'll take that coupon and you'll go to our website and sign up and you're off and running.
Yeah, I just put a
Mhm.
link to the store in the chat. So it just depends on what kind of membership you have. If you have a free basic membership, is like you still get a discount. We definitely see people purchasing those lately. And if you
Yeah.
have any issues, I'll follow up, as well as membership at csteachers.org. So
Yes.
we definitely threw a bunch at you today, but I hope this was helpful. John, thank you so much. I
Thank
feel
you,
like I
Kate.
know a little
Thanks for
bit
having
more
us.
about the course.
Good.
And Amy, thanks so much for partnering with us. Any last minute questions? Awesome. Okay, I think that's a wrap. All right, so you'll hear
Okay.
from me within the week, and I'll provide some contact information, things we talked about, and everyone have a great night, and take care of yourselves. This is a hard time, so
Bye, everybody. Thank
self-care.
you.
All right, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.